Hello, SpongeX here with more footage of Kameo Elements of Power and another episode of Video Games Worth Taking Your Time. Here's the Chamber of Living Portraits. This is mostly like a chapter select room, but it's also got a pretty interesting feature where with every elemental warrior you gain in the game, you eventually have like this living portrait of them appear in a statue form. And it has like a description and a little bit of lore behind these characters you control. It's kind of weird how they make like this real disturbing growling noise whenever you talk to them though. I don't know how, but honestly, I didn't know about a lot of this stuff until replaying the game recently. Like when I first played this, I somehow missed out on a lot of this stuff. I only knew about the chapter selected down at the very end of the room, but I never bothered looking to the sides to see all this, and it's kind of cool. I also like these strange little magical holograms they have of the characters.
Pay attention.
Now, I'm not sure what this was, like, my memory's kind of vague, but it was one of two things. So this was either a statue of Thorn, the main villain of the game, and it wasn't until like revisiting this area where it's destroyed. Or if I'm not mistaken, this is actually part of like the opening cutscene. In the opening cutscene of the game, it showed how Thorn was trapped behind like a stone like a barrier kind of thing that encased him, but then Kameo's sister Callus freed him, and so we see him shatter through the statue of himself, and so I'm not sure if that's what all those broken statue pieces were. It was either, you know, this is either where Thorn was locked up in the first place, or it was just a statue that he built since taking over the kingdom. And then after you beat the game, it's destroyed. I can't remember. It's one of those two, though. But I somehow missed that, though, when I first played this game. I didn't notice that until recently. How that was a broken statue of Thorn. That's really cool. So, along with this room being a chapter select, it's also home to like pretty much a high score mode. There's like when you go up to this giant mirror that's at the very end of the room, it not only gives you a level select, but it also shows you like some bonus features you can unlock if you beat the game's levels under a certain high score. And it takes a lot of practice, believe me. It took me forever to actually get the best scores you can in each level. Okay, not the best scores, but the highest scores necessary to unlock all the bonuses. I mean, there's also a ranking system, and so I'll admit I did not beat every level with the highest ranking, but I've beaten the levels enough to where I got a high enough score to where I unlocked all the bonus features, and it is not easy to do, though. Some of these take a lot of getting used to, and it's especially harder in some of the later levels. So, replaying the levels is much harder than it was, like, when playing through the game originally. Originally, when you played through the game, when you died, you could, restart from, like, a certain checkpoint. But when it comes to chapter select, if you die, you'll have to start over the level entirely, if you want to beat it. So, it's a lot trickier. And it's especially hard with, some of the last few levels, mostly, Snow Temple and Thorn's Pass especially. Those have like there's a time trial area in the snow level, and if you fail those, game over. And then in Thorn's Pass, there's like a real frustrating part where there's a lot of hot lava where if you touch it, it automatically kills you. So here's one of the bonus features. It allows you to go back and fight some of the previous bosses. I find it strange how that had to be an unlockable bonus. Like, I don't get why it couldn't have just been unlocked through beating the game, but So I thought it'd be fun to just go back and mess around with the final battle against Thorn.
My dear sister.
Little Kameo.
I haven't yet
How dare you!
You're as gullible as your father.
Don't disrespect my father.
Quiet.
It's funny how sometimes when you skim through cutscenes, how awkward it can make it seem. So, the key to beating this final battle is basically just keep using thermite, keep throwing bombs at him. That's the easiest way to beat this level, but, I have the infinity health code on, and I just wanted to see, like, how well the other warriors can do individually. And from what I've seen, it's not very good. Major Ruin seemed to be, like, the only character who did a slight bit of damage to him, but... yeah, I love the music during this final battle. That's one thing I forgot to mention in part 1. The music in this game is fantastic. It is very epic and cinematic. It's very orchestric. So yes, it is possible to fall off the cliff in this. There are some levels in games where they have like an invisible barrier. This is not one of them. Yeah, I've never bothered actually goofing around the final battle before. I always took it more seriously, and this is honestly a pretty easy final battle. Hey, quit looking, pervs. Yeah, I almost considered like trying to do a video showing like how many like if it was possible to beat Thorn with each and every character, and unfortunately I gave up because it was taking way too long. Some of these like this character definitely would not suffice. Deep Blue does not do any damage whatsoever. So yeah, I gave up on it. It just would have been too lengthy, especially with each character. So yeah, basically the key to beating this final battle is just keep using thermite. It was still fun to attempt though. Seeing like I knew it was going to be worthless, but I just wanted to see how epic it would look to see the other characters putting up a fight trying to defeat Thorn. So now, let's head off to the actual hub world in this game, the Badlands. Now this is huge, and it was especially more fun to play at during the story mode. During certain key points in the story mode, there was actually a war going on during this between, Kameo's people and the trolls, and it was just epic. There were, like, hundreds and thousands of NPCs just, filling the arena. They're punching each other. You can see explosions in the background, and like I've already posted like some footage of like original playthroughs of this game, so you can find it on my channel through my playlist. But so if you want to get an idea of what that looks like, I'd suggest doing that. But yeah, like take my word for it, it is breathtaking, especially for its time. Like when this game first came out, it was like impossible to see that many characters on screen at once, and yeah, video games certainly have come a long way since, you know, since then. I mean, it's crazy to think. This game was just from 2005, and it's still a marvel to behold. Heck, it's crazy how much there is in this game that there isn't. Well, it's crazy how much in this game there is that you can't see normally. And what I mean by that is there's a lot of stuff that's off bounds in the game. It is possible to see though by breaking the game. Someone on YouTube actually posted a video showing how to perform a glitch that takes you out of bounds and can cause Kameo to start swimming in mid-air. And when you activate that glitch, it can allow you to explore like the hub world without falling to your death like you normally would. It's really crazy how much attention to detail there is. Makes you wonder like how much more this game could have had if it was a bigger and better game. If it had more to explore, more to do. I mean, this is a big game, but when it comes to objectives, the objectives are much smaller than the world itself. There's not a whole lot of side quests or missions, per se. The story is pretty linear, but the exploration leaves a lot to be desired. So here we saw, like, I've honestly never seen that before, but here we just saw, like, one of the plant creatures. Apparently they went to bed, and how they do that, they just plant themselves into the ground. I always wondered what that was. I remember coming in here and wondering, like, what that area was, and so I was wondering, like, maybe if I put water on it, something magical will happen. Nothing happened, and now I know. It was just a bed for the NPC. This lighting effect kind of bugs me. It's just too strong and thick, coming from the windows and the door. Like, that's one of the biggest flaws in this game. The lighting could have been a lot better. That, and I feel like one of the things I hate the most in this game is when the night cycle occurs. I just think it makes the game look way too dark. They could have exaggerated it a bit to look more stylized and less... I don't know. It's really hard to navigate through when the game is really dark out. Especially if your color or like your brightness settings on your TV aren't high enough. So, yeah, it kind of makes me wish that either the day-night cycle was optional or there was a way to tone down the darkness. Yeah, I prefer playing this game like when the daylight is out. I love these kind of video games, the ones that have like rendered plants and grass instead of just flat textures. So there's a really cool Easter egg in this part. So there's like a little jukebox, and if you turn it on, it plays the rock and roll version of the Banjo-Kazooie theme. That was this was kind of a sneak preview of it. We didn't actually hear this song until the first official trailer for Banjo-Kazooie Nuts and Bolts came out. So it was kind of cool how like this game had a teaser for Banjo-Kazooie Nuts and Bolts. I thought this was a really cool detail. So, like, you can see this NPC, they'll just randomly walk up to trees, cut them down with an axe, and then bring them all the way over to add to the fire. I thought that was a really cool little detail. This game does a really good job at making the world feel alive in certain aspects. They did more than have the NPCs just stand around in one spot. It really feels like some kind of little ecosystem is going on.
Quit hogging it. Is it true you're going to be a queen? When I grow up, I want to be an elemental warrior too.
Keep the noise down. I guess even a pest like you is good for something.
What?
Doing anything wrong?
Okay, this bitch deserves it.
What do you want?
Ogre Swamp. Oh boy, here come the memes. What are you doing in my swamp? So in the original version of this game, the ogre was supposed to have a goofier looking appearance, but it looks like they gave him a more menacing appearance with the glowing green eyes. He was supposed to be like some kind of goofy looking Cyclops ogre. He had one eye originally, and it looks like this part was supposed to have bigger significance in the original game, but in the final version it was just a challenge you had to get through in order to get the final elemental warrior thermite. This was kind of an annoying part of the game. Like, there's no true way to defeat the ogre. You just had to, like, keep, like, if I remember, you had to keep, trying to, like, you had to plug up, like, these little geysers, with, like, these little plants that are hanging up in the trees, and the only way to get them down is to, distract, like, the ogre with some kind of loud noise plant, and lure him into running into a tree and causing those plants to drop. And then you pick up those plants and plug them in the holes. It was kind of tedious, but... So here's a little tavern area, and you can put in 5 coins or runes to activate music that isn't heard anywhere else in the game. So I'm not sure if like these were unused tracks or they were just made specifically for this part, but it's kind of funny how you can see like one of the knights, they're drunk and they start dancing when you play the music. I like how lively this area looks. You'll actually see a bunch of customers come in and leave, and occasionally, like when there's no customers, you'll see the bartender. He'll go to the tables and start wiping them off with a cloth, and I mean, it's really interesting. I just love how detailed this game is. If this were any other game, these characters would just be standing there the whole time. They wouldn't have like this routine of, you know, entering and leaving, having new customers coming in. It's really interesting. Okay, someone get this guy help. He's drunk. I regret nothing.
Great stuff.
On the ground.
Now Flex wants to party. Oh wait, Flex looks like he's drunk already.
Clean up for this lot. That's clean enough for this lot. That's clean enough for this lot. I'm thinking of renaming the place. I'm thinking of renaming the... Time to water the juice.
There's one way to make an exit. Well, that's all I have to show for now. Thank you for watching. See you next time. Goodbye.
One day we'll unravel this so-called magic.